So, again, my name is Gary Hooser, and I got involved in public advocacy while I was a state senator, and been reaching out over the years trying to get people more engaged. And I tell a story. I met a young man who was involved with a 350.org movement about a year ago or so. And he was about 25, 26 years old. I'll tell you, his name was Kimo Carvalho. Some of you may know Kimo, but he's a very bright young man. I think he was a graduate student working at East West Center. And he was the kind of guy that, you know, he's carrying his own water bottle. He goes shopping. He carries his own bag. You know, he goes to the conferences. He's a good advocate in the community. He's educated. He cares about the environment. He takes short showers, I'm sure, to preserve water. And I told Kimo, I said, Kimo, how come I don't see you down at the legislature? How come I don't see you testifying in front of the, you know, on these bills? How come I don't see you involved in politics? And Kimo looked at me and he said, Senator, he said, I'm sorry, but I don't do politics. And I felt like shaking him, you know? And I said, Kimo, you got to do politics. You got to do politics. If you don't do politics, politics will do you. Okay, politics will do you. If you don't do politics, you turn around one day, you can't go to the beach anymore. Okay, you don't do politics, you turn around one day and the stream down the road from your house is now a drainage ditch. Okay, a couple years later, it's now a cement culvert. Okay, you got to do politics. That's one message that I'm here to beg with you, to plead with you, to ask you, please do politics. And you're here today, so that's a great sign. And that's what Capitol Watch is all about, to get more people in the community to do politics, to engage the system. You know, to give you an example, you know, we have a solar hot water mandate in this state that I've been very proud of helping to initiate. And right now, every new home built in the state of Hawaii has to have a solar hot water heater or another highly efficient hot water heater. Okay, that's the law. It's the first in the nation law in Hawaii. You should be very proud of that. Okay. Before that, we would educate people, try to encourage people. This is the right thing to do. This is good for you. We'd provide incentives. Okay. With the stroke of a pen, new public policy was changed, and now everybody does it. Okay. Everybody has to do it. Okay. That's the power of public policy. We spend a lot of time, and I applaud people setting personal examples. I applaud organizations like Blue Planet trying to promote CFLs and other energy efficient devices. With the stroke of a pen, we can require through public policy changes that's the only kind of light bulbs you can sell in the state of Hawaii. Okay? With the stroke of a pen, we can do that. We can magnify these good initiatives. So the benefits from these initiatives are just, you know, everybody does it. I can go on and on. You know, we could require, and we came close to this a year or two ago, we could basically say as a public body, as a community, we don't want any more new fossil fuel power plants. We can say that's the law. No more new fossil fuel power plants. And we can do that with a stroke of a pen. Okay, but it will not happen without the involvement from you in this room and many people like you, your friends, your neighbors, people in your community. The solar hot water bill took 5 years. 5 years to pass, okay? It was not until the Sierra Club stepped up to the plate and other organizations, and the room was full of people saying this is a good idea, this lowers the cost of housing, this puts more money in the economy, this lessens greenhouse gases, gets us off of oil. These are all good things. There's no reason why we're not doing it. Let's do it. It was only then that bill passed. And we can do so much more, but it takes your involvement. So please, I ask you to do politics. We've got a couple of speakers after me that are going to tell you some ins and outs, some practical ways to affect public policy. And I do a talk that I go around, I talk to people, and I'll just talk about, real quickly, the first rule that I want to impart on you and have you understand. Okay, you want to affect and impact public policy makers, senators, representatives, governors. And so the most important person in a public policy maker's life is who? Who? The person that allows them to serve. Okay? The person that allows them to serve, the person that votes for them in their district. Okay? The most important person to allow that person to serve is a person that votes for them, a person that's in their district. And so I ask you again and beg you, get to know the senators and representatives and council members who live in your district. How many people here know the names of the representatives and the senators in their district? Okay, that's really good. That's good. Most groups I talk to, not just a fraction of that. But not just know the names, develop a personal relationship with them. We live in a state that is small enough where you can do that. You can call up Chris Lee, Representative Lee, if you live in his district, and you can say, Representative Lee, I'd like to sit down with you and talk about issues that are important to me. And he'll sit down and talk to you, and anytime. And Representative Nakashima too, thank you. And develop a personal relationship. Get to know them. That is the first step to affecting public policy. The other steps, we're going to talk, have some others come up. First of all, we're going to have Suzanne Marinelli. Suzanne, come up, and why don't you talk about yourself, introduce yourself. She's with the public access room upstairs. And it's a vital link for the community members to legislators. It's a resource. We were the first in the nation, the state of Hawaii, to establish this resource 20 years ago. And I'm just going to like talk until you come. So thank you very much for letting me talk. Suzanne Marinelli is going to take over from here. Thank you.
It's 20%, and it's what the state buys, so you're stuck with what the state can afford these days, and God knows what that might or might not mean. Let's see. This is a zero waste crowd, so I kept my handouts to 2. So I just want to go quickly over these things. I have about a 4-hour presentation and 15 minutes to do it in, so hang on. First thing, that's metaphoric. Definitely metaphoric. Anyway, the first handout I have is just this trifold brochure about the public access room. If you want to sleep through everything I have to say, that's fine with me. Just remember to find our phone number. And it's really more important to know where to find out information than it is to try to cram an infinite amount of information into your head. So just give us a call. We are in room 401, right up above here. And if you get stuck anytime, just give us a call. We're there year-round, and in theory, we're 9 to 5 this time of year, and 8 to 6 on in the sessions, and 8 to 2 on Saturdays. But I recall one time when I was in my office at 2 in the morning, and the phone rang, and I said, "Aloha, public access room," and this voice said, "What are you doing there?" And of course, the right response is, "Well, what are you calling me for?" You know, so if it's 2 in the morning, don't jump off the ledge. Just leave a message. If we're not there, we'll call you back the next day, and we'll do our best to answer your questions. And I will mention that beginning Monday, my assistant, Virginia Beck, is going to be on Maui doing a whole series of legislative process workshops. It's very important for people to know that our neighbor island people have a much greater voice in the legislative process than they ever have had with live hearings going, televised hearings going to the neighbor islands and such. And the advent of email testimony has tremendously helped neighbor island citizens be better heard. We just finished our Kauai series. The Maui series, I will mention, covers Lanai and Molokai as well as Maui Island. And mid-December, I'll be on the Big Island doing these same things. So call us if you need the schedule. So anyway, this is the only thing I really need to tell you about this. We are a deeply nonpartisan office. And everybody that works in the Capitol is oriented toward whatever their own issues are. And so in our office, it's full of people who have their own opinions and ways of feeling about things, but we serve process rather than policy. And in that way, we can affect all outcomes because we assist you in knowing how to be more effective advocates for whatever your issues are. This next thing that I have here is just, it's a front and back thingy. The front half is about the Capitol website, and it just gives you this is the drive-by approach to understanding this website. The first thing I would mention is that if you want to find out who your legislators are, I think you've already had that covered, go to committees on either House or Senate and find out who sits on the committees that have something to do with your issue. That'll be crucially important. If you want to find and track legislation, you can go to the Bill Status and Documents page, and I'll do a real fast drive-by of that site in just a minute. If you want to know what the law actually says, currently go to the Hawaii Revised Statutes link. And if you know that in prior years there was good legislation that didn't make it through the system, go into archives, choose your year, and then find your information that way. You can go back as far as 1999 on the legislature's website. That's when we went online. Past that, you can go to the Legislative Reference Bureau library, where they have information that does go back as far as the days of the kingdom, so that's pretty good. On the back side of this is there a quick drive-by of the Public Access Room's website, which is always undergoing modification, as things should. You'll notice there is a link in the middle of the page, how to enjoy a public hearing. I wrote that one day, sitting in a cold hearing room in a hard chair. I'll tell you this about hearings. The bills that are in front of you, and other people's bills will be in front of yours. It's the law. You're going to have to sit through that. And their bill is not going to be as interesting as yours, but it's a good idea to pay attention to what's going on in that too, because you will find your allies that way too. Because if they're in the same cold room as you are, you already have something important in common. Go through that How to Enjoy document. It's only 2 pages long, and it's a bit of an overview on how to participate effectively in the public hearing itself. We also have, second thing here, newsletters. Public Access Room puts out 4 newsletters or so during the course of a legislative session, and we focus on issues that are specific to that time period. At the end of last session, we had an article on how the veto process works and how that's overridden and that sort of thing. So it's really good mechanics that can be explained there. As I mentioned earlier, we do have the workshops going on in our Neighbor Island series. This time of year, we offer workshops in 23 of the Neighbor Island communities, because we feel like the legislature has to go to the people, because the people are the fundamental building blocks of our entire legislative process and of our representative democracy. And sign up for, give us a call, sign up if you want those newsletters to come to you electronically. There is also on this page toward the bottom, there's a link to a document called Walkthrough Session. That's about a 69-page document, and it will give you detailed information on the whole legislative process if you're not familiar with the details of that.